everybody, it's ChristopherNotWalken. Welcome to the Dirty Nerdy Show, and today we have DreamsiclesASMR. She's new, but she's super high-tech. She makes everybody that's been in here for a minute, like, want to quit, just because, like, holy crap, she came in with, like, the 3DO.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. Hi, you nervous? What's up?
I am so happy to be on the show. Thank you for having me, Chris.
Thank you for coming on. Guys, y'all don't understand. Like, she reads a lot of these books, you know, that are, like, that you're allowed to read. Because some you're not allowed to read, but the ones that she reads, you're allowed to read. And they're really good. And, oh my gosh. And, yeah, I love her videos.
Thank you.
You know what I like about your videos the most?
What is that?
Like, the fact that, like, a lot of it's just reading books, right? So I can literally, like, not even put my headphones in and, like, just listen to them and go to sleep.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because I'm always afraid. I don't know about you, but, like, this is straight up an ASMR problem. I'm afraid if I go to sleep with my headphones on, that I'm going to fucking break them.
There are headphones that you can pretty much wear while you're asleep, and it's not going to break them, but I get pain in my ears if I leave them in when I'm asleep for too many days in a row.
How many days have you left them in? Like, what's the most?
Well, I mean, like, not during the daytime, but I mean, like, at night when I go to sleep. If I put them in for, like, 5 or more hours at night for a few days in a row, then it'll mess up my ears. I'll have bruises inside my ears.
Aw. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but you know what? You're Batman, so it's all good. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. She's Batman.
Yep.
You want to tell the people about that?
Well, you came up with the nickname.
I did.
You did.
She goes into bat caves and shit, and she is literally Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Not afraid of nothing. And she'll mess you up, too. I'm pretty sure she knows, like, Krav Maga or some shit.
Yeah, I totally know Kung Fu.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I've seen a few martial arts movies. I know what to.
I think I only know how to kick to the side, and that's it.
Really? I can't even do that. She doesn't know how to respond to that. That's amazing.
I don't know if I can do it anymore. I don't know if I'm that flexible anymore.
I'm not. I feel like once we get over, like, the 25-year-old hump, it's like, no, we're done.
It's all downhill.
It's all downhill. Like, there's no getting better from that. Like, you just start to deteriorate as a human.
Yeah, you
do. So, how'd you get into ASMR?
Okay, so when I was little, my dad used to, he used to tickle me, like it would be like this tickle fest, and he would, like, hiss in my ear, and it would send shivers down my spine. It was, like, part of the whole tickle fest thing, and it just drove me insane. Like, it made me laugh so friggin' hard, and so I didn't know that there was really a name for it later on in life, like the past few years or anything, so it's always been something trying to explain it to people and explain the experience, and most people don't understand it. So it became very difficult, and then I was watching the Odd Ones Out, one of his cartoon or comic videos that he has on YouTube, and it was talking about ASMR, and I was like, hey, I don't know what that is. I'm going to look it up. And so when I looked it up, I discovered that, hey, this is the explanation of that feeling that I've been having my whole life. So I was talking to a guy I was seeing at the time, and I mentioned it, and he's like, oh, I listen to ASMR videos every single night. And so then he said that I should get into making the videos myself. And so I did. And here I am.
And she did, and she is, and here she is.
Yep. Here I am.
So, what was the first video that you saw? Do you remember?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Do you remember like the first channel with like ASMR that you subscribed to and you watched like all the time?
I don't think that there's one that I watch all the time. I kind of split up my time between different ones because I want to try out different people
Yeah.
and like their own take on ASMR and everything. So I've been trying out a whole bunch of different people's stuff. Um,
Who are some of
like
your
I like,
favorites right now?
okay, so I like Shadowy Whispers. His stuff is very cave-ish, so that kind of caught my attention early on.
Hey, I know that guy. I know that guy. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, he wasn't the first one that I saw, but he was the first one that I was like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. I really like that. I don't think I get ASMR from it, but it makes me laugh a lot. And I started talking to A Still Mind Relaxes, and we've been talking a lot, and he has chinchillas, so I think that's totally awesome. And so, yeah, we've been talking for I guess since February 14th, at like 11 p.m. So he messages me out of the blue and he's like, oh, I love Isaac Asimov. And then he's like, will you be my Valentine for the last 15 minutes of Valentine's Day? It was so cute.
And what'd you say?
But of course, because I don't have anybody. And so that was kind of cool.
Aw, that was so nice.
I know. I was just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that in like the last 15 minutes of Valentine's Day. But he's really nice, and I know when he gets better equipment, he's going to be really awesome because his videos are awesome.
He's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
The next Maddie Tingles right there.
Yes. And so then there's Bubble Dust, and I absolutely adore her. So she's so sweet.
That's another friend of mine. You're just naming all my friends.
No. These are like, they're so close-knit to me. Trying to think of who else there is. There's so many more.
What about Heather Feather? Do you like Heather Feather?
I don't really listen to too much of her stuff. So, I don't know. I usually go for the lesser-known people, which, I don't know.
You know, I've heard a lot of people say that. I've heard a lot of big-time ASM artists come to me and say that they don't really watch like other big artists. They mainly watch like the smaller artists.
Yeah.
And they get, you know, this is what they've told me, and it's no rip on anybody. They get more tingles from like the lo-fi equipment and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And it kind of makes sense because when all of this started, there was no 3DO. There was none of that, you know. There was a few binaural microphones, but nothing was like concrete, you know. It was just, you know, you had to be super creative and just do whatever. And yeah, I think it's slowly turning back to that because everybody that like we watch now does that.
Yeah.
So, what when you decided to do the channel, were you like, okay, I need this, this, and this?
I was prepping for a couple months.
Oh yeah.
Because I hurt my voice before I was going to go public, and so I had to wait, and I had to make sure that I had enough money for everything that I needed to buy. So I prepared pretty much everything that I wanted to do, and I kept changing my ideas completely, and it was kind of like this struggle because I bought a lot of stuff that I'm not going to use because I changed my mind on it.
You could always use it later.
Maybe not. So I had ideas with like a black light and having a black light on me, but then it's not really good for your eyes. And then I bought contacts so that I would be able to use the black light. And then I was just like, I don't want to do that every day. That's not going to be something that I want to do every day. Maybe once in a blue moon, but meh.
What kind of contacts did you get?
Oh, just some that obscure the black light so that it's not damaging your eyes.
Oh, I thought you were getting like, you know,
damage.
Because Night Shift, he wears all sorts of contacts in his videos.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
No, it was just contacts so that the black light doesn't injure my eyes.
Well, we wouldn't want that.
No, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't matter because you're Batman, and you'd still kick everybody's ass.
I went to like 2 concerts, and
Who'd
my
you go
voice was
see?
shot. I saw The Moth and the Flame, and then I saw some other bands like, who was there? Oh yeah, Andrew McMahon.
I love him. You know what band he's from?
I met him. Oh yes, something corporate. But I've
You know what his
seen
other band is? If you know what his other band is, I will.
him.
Oh my God! You know these things. You know, like my favorite things, and that makes me happy.
I lived out in San Diego in 2000 to 2003, and so I'd seen him in concert like twice back then, and then I followed him when he had leukemia, and then I followed him further with Jack's Mannequin. And there was this one time I drove out to California to go visit my great-grandma before she passed away, and I listened to Jack's Mannequin, I think it's in transit, the whole way there and back.
Mm-hmm.
Or Everything in Transit. So I listened to it the whole way there and back. Like, that was all that was on the radio. The guy that I was dating at the time must have been, like, going nuts. Cause
I would have loved that trip because I love the band Something Corporate, and then I love, like, just Jack's Mannequin. Like,
Yeah.
I get excited when people, like, bring his name up because he's, like, so obscure.
Yeah.
You know? And then when people, like, know who he is, I'm like, yes!
Oh, man, there was another girl that was there that was also meeting him, and she was like, oh, you followed him for that long, too? He like, helped me get through high school and everything, or I don't know, like, maybe elementary or middle school or something. But she had struggled. She was kind of young. I think she was maybe 10 years younger than me, so. But she had followed him the whole time, too. He was shocked. He was like, oh, you've been following me the whole time? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, so for the last 2 years? And I was like, no, since forever ago.
Since if you think about it, he had like the original like Bieber haircut. Like he was doing that before Bieber.
He really was. But his hair's curly, you know? So I mean it's probably not as much so now because of the chemo, but like way back in the day he had a mop on his head. He really did. And it was just amazing. Oh, I remember the one concert I went to, it was oh my God, I can't remember the name of that. There's this big thing that they have every year, and I can't remember the name of the concert thing. But anyways, he was there, and he was playing, and he asked the crowd what they wanted to hear next. And I don't know if anybody really knew much of his music, and I was like, play Constantine. And he's like, that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to play Constantine. That was really cool. So.
I would have said, Punk Rock Princess, do it.
Oh, when I met him, I was like, can you play something? I wanted him to play Me and the Moon, but he wasn't prepared for it. He would have, but he wasn't prepared for it. And so he ended up playing I Woke Up in a Car because of the San Diego thing.
I woke up in a car.
Yeah, he sang that, and it was just so cool. I was like, aw.
That I would have fangirled. I would have legit fangirled. I don't know how you kept your cool.
Oh, so when I went to go see The Moth and the Flame, they're like a lesser known band, but I love them to death. I mean, oh, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So Brandon, the lead singer, he's just amazing on stage. He has great stage presence. I've seen him in concert twice, in the front row both times. And the first time I didn't know who he was, and it was part of like Kerfuffle. And I looked him up and I listened to his music and I just fell in love with the music. And so when I saw him in concert, like before the concert in Ohio, he was just sitting there. Like he had gone to the bathroom, he comes out and he's just sitting there. And I was like, no way. He's just sitting there. Like, nobody recognizes him or anything. Nobody's talking to him. He didn't have any of the band members with him. He wasn't back in the band room or anything. So I went over and I talked to him. And I had, like, a solid 5 or 10-minute conversation with him. And my sister got a picture of me with him, so.
Did you have a drink with him?
I did not. I don't think he was able to drink at that time. It's not something that he would have been able to do because he just donated his kidney.
Oh, yeah, probably not a good idea.
He donated his kidney in like December, and this was in like October-ish, November. So it might, well, yeah, October, November or so. November, December? I don't know. Somewhere around there.
Mm.
November, December. I think it was the end of November and the beginning of December. So, and then he donated his kidney after he finished that tour.
Well, that's super nice of him.
Yeah. Well, he happened to be like the perfect match for one of his friends, so he ended up donating his kidney for his friend.
That's super nice. Sir, you are a nice person if you're listening to this interview.
Yes. He is a really nice guy.
So let's switch back to ASMR really quick, and then we're gonna wrap it up, and then you can breathe. So what are your plans for the future on the channel?
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
I might try a role play. It would be kind of obscure if I do, and I'm not sure yet on it because I want to put it together and everything and have it be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I'm undecided on that. I've started trying to write stuff because I looked online for some ideas, and so I've got some ideas, but they're not quite formulated. They're still kind of a cloud.
Yeah.
They're still in a cloud of some sort. And so there's that. But I try to get one chapter out every day, and I've been pretty consistent with that so far.
Yeah.
Sometimes the chapters are really long, and if that's the case, I'm going to be breaking up those books once a week so that I'm not overstressed with those.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a good question for you. If you could recommend any books that you can't read on the channel to the viewers that you think people would like, what would they be? She just looked at me like, motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you.
Alright, so any of the Paulo Coelho books, any of them, any of Tom Robbins' books, because I love Tom Robbins, and The Stranger by Albert Camus, and Jack Kerouac. I don't know if any of his stuff is public domain. I don't think it is. I think when I looked it wasn't, but it might be. I don't think it is, though. That's kind of like on the borderline, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
some of them might have been like, the copyright might have been reinstated after 1923. Oh yeah, there's this book called Infinite Jest, and then there's another one, Poe, the singer, her brother and her had done a collaboration, and he did this book called The House of Leaves, and it's really crazy. I will never be able to read that book probably because I wouldn't even be able to read it for the channel because I can't do it justice. You have text every which direction, and it's not all on every single page. So you have like one story going at the same time as another story, and it's very layered in the storytelling, which would be really cool. I guess I could do like a layered book, but then that would make no sense to the person listening.
I mean, it would make sense if you focused really hard.
You would have to focus really, really hard. It's a strange book, but it's, well, I think, yeah, it's a strange book. That one is. So it's kind of this house that there's a hallway and it keeps growing, or it's like hidden, and it keeps growing, and then the outside dimensions of the house never add up for the inside dimensions of the house, and it's very creepy. And I didn't really finish the book because it's it's so disjointed. It's so hard to read. It perplexes me. It's very cryptic. And
Batman is perplexed.
I know. And then Infinite Jest is also very awesome. There's a game in there that I wish I could play. It's called Eschaton, I think is how it's pronounced. Eschaton, the word itself is, I think it means like the end of the world, or like post-apocalyptic.
Ooh.
And it's this game where they have tennis balls and tennis. There's like a huge tennis court with, like the 4 different sections to it. And people will put down boxers and t-shirts and underwear, like their briefs or whatever, and they will hit the tennis ball and try to send it to another country. And oh yeah, this is like the layout of the whole world is right there. Like everybody that has their underwear and t-shirts and boxers and everything, that represents a country. One of them is like the embassy, another one's like their equivalent of the White House or whatever, and so on and so forth. So, so if you hit like their t-shirt, then you win like some amount of their nukes that they have, like some percentage of their nukes.
Yeah.
And then they lose that facility or that building. And in the book itself, there was a war because everything just broke loose. Like somebody hit something that somebody didn't want hit or something, and then everything just went crazy. It's absolute mayhem. There is a song that does this, but I can't remember the name of the song. I don't remember the name of the song, and I don't remember the name of the band. But, oh well.
Speaking of songs, guys, I don't know if you know this, but Dream over here is like one of the best singers ever in the history of ever.
Thank you.
And, yeah. So here's what I need you guys to do, okay? Of course you're going to like this video. You're going to go to her channel and you're going to subscribe, but you're also going to follow her on Twitter, right? And then you're going to tweet her and you're going to be like, will you please sing for ChristopherNotWalken? And maybe, just maybe, we might get a video of her doing some singing if we get enough tweets. What do you think? You down for that?
Yeah. I'll do that. If you get enough tweets, I'll do that.
We'll make it happen. All right.
All right, make it happen.
So, yeah, as I said, guys, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to me and her. Subscribe to her first. Go subscribe. Do you have a Patreon?
I do. I just set that up. I set it up like a little bit more than a week ago. I have to get all the links posted up on my videos and stuff still.
Yeah, well, by the time this comes out, it'll be sorted.
Yeah.
Become one of her patrons. And speaking of Patreon, guys, yo, Dream, we gotta tell them about the fancy deals that they get on my Patreon. Did you know that for $1, just one, you get early access to all of our videos over here at the Dirty Nerdy Show? All of the interviews, all of them. You got Frivy, you got everybody who does ASMR that comes on the show. Their video comes out early on Patreon, and I think that's a sweet deal. Don't you think that's a sweet deal?
Yeah, sounds really awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, if you liked this interview and you like what Dream is doing, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. My name is ChristopherNotWalken. This is the Dirty Nerdy Show. That was DreamsiclesASMR. Go show her love, subscribe to her, hit her up on the Twitter. She's super cute, you guys, like for real. Yeah, go check out what she does, because she does a lot of really cool stuff. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.